This is Lady Josephine Montelier, our ambassador and chief diplomat.
Anderan Atishan.
You speak Elven?
You just heard the entirety of it, I'm afraid. Master Lavellan, do you have a moment?
Did you need something, Ambassador?
Yes. Well, not precisely, but I should like to know if anyone here has treated you unkindly, Herald, for being an elf.
If they have, they've been stealthy.
Good. Please let me know if that changes. If we're to convince the world that Andrastis Herald is an elf, the Inquisition must give you its utmost support. Stories of wild Dalish elves have grown even more outrageous as people learn of you.
How have the rumors gotten worse?
I would prefer not to repeat them.
Give me something.
Stealing children, selling peasants to slavers, burning down villages, using infants for blood magic. Those are the stories about your fellow Dalish. I won't repeat what they've said about you.
Why not claim the Dalish can steal your breath or turn into dragons while they're at it? Now that I've said that out loud, someone probably has.
Very likely. I will see what the Inquisition can do to contain the slander. It may help if I know more about how you and your clan lived.
Getting up before dawn to fish, constantly mending wagons and tents, spending days on the hunt. I still can't believe city dwellers have food delivered straight to their doorsteps.
Really? I never considered it extraordinary. Haven is so far away from home. You must miss the people of your clan.
If I'd never left home, Josephine, I never would have met you. That would be the greater tragedy.
What? Really? There is more to this, Master Lavellan. Whatever comes, your role as Andrastis Herald will mark your clan in history.
The Dalish still worship the gods of our ancestors. When they hear me called the Herald of Andraste, it may stir up anger.
They must see that you move in different circles now. The moment of understanding can be painful.
I'll take my leave. Good day.
Who was she, Ambassador?
A merchant. I thought we should reach out to the dwarves to secure lyrium for the Inquisition's mages. According to Lady Corpin, it raised the ire of the Chantry.
How?
Access to lyrium makes us rather more formidable than anticipated. We're becoming a challenge. Sadly, the remaining Grand Clerics appear to be consolidating the Chantry's power, instead of comforting the masses.
Mage circles started falling years ago. The Chantry was troubled even before the Divine's murder.
Yet many people continue to bear it great love. We will not benefit from its decline. Little but the Chantry ties Orlais, Nevarra, Ferelden, Antiva, and even Rivain to a common cause.
Has the Chantry truly promoted such peace?
Andrastis' chant is familiar across kingdoms, a source of many shared customs. That is the crucial point. Common ground is the start of all negotiations.
Are you sure? Families often fight the hardest.
Having grown up among four siblings, I concede your point. I found, however, that the only time two parties cannot negotiate is when they cease to speak. We must learn to think beyond our own wants, to secure peace in Thedas.
How did someone so lovely and selfless go into Elysian politics, Lady Montelier?
Well, that is, really, you give me too much credit. Right on the parlor floor, in front of everyone at the soiree. Who does such a thing in front of their guests?
The Duke of Kellington, apparently.
And Sarah, can she not find a single overshirt without mustard stains on it? Then there's Dorian. The man refuses to take anything seriously unless it suits its whim. Not to mention... Oh goodness. Have we been here an hour already?
It went by so quickly I didn't even notice.
You're far too polite. I didn't intend to go on for so long. You must think me quite the gossip.
Spending time with such an engaging woman is never unpleasant, Lady Montelier.
Goodness. I'm glad I haven't wasted your day. Well, I've taken up quite enough of your time already. Until next time, Your Worship.
Tell me about the Montiliers.
Well, my parents are alive and in good health. They live in our estate in Antiva City. Of my 4 siblings, most attend to the running of the family vineyards. That reminds me, I must ask someone to make sure Yvette attends the spring reception at the palace. My youngest sister has no head for social engagements.
Why are you overseeing your siblings' social lives?
It's Antivan custom. After a certain age, the heir apparent runs the family's estate to prove they're worthy of succession. If you're unfit for the task, the heads of the house, usually one's parents, may decree a new heir.
What do these Antivan heads of the household do if they don't run it?
They work and provide guidance. I've taken advice from my parents. Well, mostly mother. Father's more of an artist. It's rather gauche, but we never can dissuade him from running his own salons. Between him and my siblings, Mother's looking forward to my taking over the estate.
Between that and the Inquisition, when do you ever rest?
Delegation helps a great deal. But managing the estate is my duty. As much work as it is, I will not shirk it.
Is running your family's estate that important to you?
I'm responsible for their welfare. A Montilier never shuns their familial duty. Taxing as those duties can sometimes be.
I think you're too finicky to give those responsibilities to the rest of your family.
You don't know them. But Lorien in charge, or Antoine, or Yvette? No, truly. It must be me.
Where were you raised, Josephine?
I was born in Antiva City, but when I turned 15, Mother declared I'd attend finishing school in Val Royeaux. But I bowled into her skirts the day I had to leave.
Did they have to pry your fingers off the doorframe as well?
Admittedly, I may have been a trifle sheltered. But my mother only wanted the best for me. Living in Orlais was an education in itself.
What did you learn at this finishing school in Val Royeaux?
Among other things, mathematics, rhetoric, poetry, history, logic, and a great deal of etiquette. I still remember Madame Beventir's switch on my knuckles when I forgot the basic tenets of Nevaran dining customs. For a dowager approaching her 80th year, she had quite the arm.
How did the younger you like Val Royeaux when you arrived?
Have you ever stepped into a new city and felt the buildings couldn't possibly be real? That was Val Royeaux to me. So beautifully foreign, I gaped at its spires for months.
Does Antiva City have nothing that compares to Val Royeaux?
Antiva City is a jewel among the capitals. But I did not appreciate that before I traveled. There are multitudes of places I'd like to see. Saharan, the Anderfels, whatever lies past the Amaranthine Ocean.
You said the Montiliers used to run an entire trading fleet. What happened?
There was a scandal in Val Royeaux more than an age ago. The Montiliers were forbidden from trading with Orlais. Our personal fortunes never quite rebounded.
Does anyone in Orlais even remember what that scandal was?
I doubt it, but the injunction persists.
What exactly happened?
An affair with a minor lord. Perhaps. Most other details are lost.
Are you saying your family's livelihood was ruined because of a love affair no one even remembers?
Essentially. Orlesian politics are full of these unhappy little missteps, Inquisitor. Inquisitor, I must speak with you.
What is it?
I must explain something first about the Montiliers' fortunes.
I remember you said your family had been forbidden from trading in Orlais.
It's devastated our finances. The Montiliers have, in fact, been in debt for over 100 years.
I had no idea your family's situation was so precarious.
Hardly anyone outside the family does. For generations, we've done everything to keep creditors at bay. Sold our lands to stave off interest. It's just... It is infuriating to see my family still reduced to this. I'm to become head of our house. If I sell any more of our land, my family will become destitute. That cannot be my legacy to them.
Most people worry about their next meal. Never mind an estate.
I'm not blind, but I worry for my family. My foolish sister Yvette with her daydreams. My brothers trying to rebuild our fleet with their own hands. Is it wrong to hope they never know hardship?
Is there anything I can do?
I'd almost solved our problems. For a while. I negotiated a chance to reinstate the Montiliers as landed traders in Orlais. We could rebuild with that. But when I dispatched paperwork to Val Royeaux... I've just learned my carriers were murdered. And the documents restoring my family's trading status destroyed.
Who hates the Montiliers enough to do that?
Leliana made inquiries that bore success. Comte Boisvert, a nobleman in Val Royeaux, claims to know who killed my messengers. He has a request that you come when I meet him, so he's seen publicly conferring with you.
What will being seen with me gain the Comte?
The Comte will drop hints at parties he's to meet with an important visitor. Allies and rivals will take note. Once he's met you, there will be speculation. The Comte will subtly spin reports to his advantage. He will use us. But if he knows who killed my people, I ask that we indulge him.
If that's what it takes to get to the bottom of this, I'll meet this Comte with you.
Thank you, Inquisitor. It means... you are too kind. I must know who killed my couriers just to harm my family.
Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for seeing us, Comte Boisvert.
The honor is mine. Please, sit. It's an honor to assist two such distinguished guests.
Please, tell us what you know.
Straight to business, then. After the murder of Lady Montili's people, I don't suppose I can blame you. Have you heard of the House of Repose?
The Assassin's League?
My contacts obtained a copy of a document in the archives. Contract for life.
The House of Repose is hereby sworn to eliminate anyone attempting to overturn the Montiliers' trading exile in Orlais.
Overly complicated assassination plots are part of Orlesian politics, I take it.
They're all too common, I'm afraid.
The contract was signed by a noble family. The Du Paraquets.
But the Du Paraquets died out as a noble line over 60 years ago.
Indeed. But the contract was signed 109 years ago.
How can a family try to kill you after they died out?
The Du Paraquets were our rivals. They drove the Montiliers from Val Royeaux. This contract was drawn up over 100 years ago, but it wasn't invoked until I tried to overturn my family's exile.
Unpleasant though it may be, the House of Repose is merely fulfilling its contractual duties.
If the people who wanted your family dead are gone, why are the assassins still after you?
A contract is a contract, Inquisitor. Orlesian businesses live and die by their reputations. The entire guild's welfare would be endangered if an agreement was tossed aside on a whim of time or fate.
She's quite right, Your Worship. The House of Repose is doing what it feels necessary, by its standards.
I assume you have a thought or two on this, Josephine.
The Du Paraquets still have descendants under the common branch. If we elevate them to nobility, a Du Paraquet could annul the contract on my life.
That will take time, Lady Montilier. Time during which the House of Repose will be obliged to hunt you.
Will they now? You are exceedingly well informed. You're not to have said you'd heard rumors, at best.
A bit of subterfuge. This contract on your life is an ugly business. One the House of Repose deeply regrets. But this is Orlais. Even an assassin's word is his bond.
Does Comte Boisvert actually exist?
Absolutely. The Comte's offer to reveal the killers of Lady Montily's messengers was genuine. So was his information somehow. An end to be tied up later.
I thought you were remarkably well informed about a secret assassin's guild.
We are hardly secret, my dear Inquisitor, just normally much more reclusive. The contract on Lady Montily's life is so unusual, we felt the courtesy of an explanation was in order.
It is appreciated, monsieur.
Your idea to seek out the Duparequet to revoke our orders is an interesting one. I wish you luck. I did not come to shed blood today, Inquisitor. Only to speak. Might I pass?
Why warn us about your contract and let us go?
In Orlais, it is only decent to inform those involved in a contract when extraordinary circumstances conspire.
And the guild's reputation would suffer if you ignored the contract. I quite understand.
Thank you, my lady. May we conclude with my departure?
Go, then.
Good day, your worship. My lady, I pray we never meet again.
Well, I didn't think our meeting would end like this.
We'll deal with these assassins.
I have some thoughts. Let's discuss them back at Skyhold. I'll feel safer with the castle's walls around me. I'm so sorry, Inquisitor. I never thought my family's trading status would trap us in an assassin's plot.
Between our soldiers and spies, Skyhold's safer than anywhere else in Thedas.
Yet the problem persists. I've tracked down the last Duparequets. If they become gentry, they can annul the contract on my life. We'll require a noble from Val Royeaux to sponsor them, a judge to provide documents, a minister to ratify them.
It's so like you to take the longest course of action, even when your life is at stake.
I assume you already know everything about this mess.
There is a faster way, Josephine. The original contract on your life is in the vaults of the House of Repose. If my agents infiltrate it and destroy the original, the assassin will have no obligation to chase you.
Liliana, please. I want no more bloodshed over a personal affair.
Don't be so stubborn, Josie. How long will it take you to gather these favors in Val Royeaux?
We can solve this without more deaths on either side.
My people are ready, should you change your mind. I'll post a watch on our ambassador in case the House of Repose visits.
I appreciate it, but I still believe elevating the Duparequets will solve this.
Thank you for seeing me in private, Minister Belize.
I chastise you for taking me from the party, Inquisitor, but the Marquis throws such dull affairs. It's hardly worth it. I assume you wish to discuss your petition to elevate these Duparequets to a minor lordship. Tell me, why should I allow you to pollute the Orlesian nobility any further than it's already been muddled?
You don't think much of the current Orlesian nobility?
I do not. It is a watered-down shadow of its former glory, degraded by a mongrel mix of tradesmen and merchants. Really, it is too much. The very thought causes me pain. What can you possibly provide that will make your petition worth my effort?
Diplomatic connections that reach far beyond the boundaries of Val Royeaux, perhaps?
I might make use of your ambassador. The Montiliers aren't what they were, but at least they're from proper stock. Arrange for me to be introduced to the court of Antiver. I hear winter is most pleasant by their sea. Very well, Inquisitor. Should you fulfill this bargain, I shall raise the Duparequets into lordship.
I received a letter from the House of Repose, Your Worship. They acknowledge their contract is null and void. There is no longer a price on my life.
They're a polite bunch of ruthless murderers, I'll give them that.
I regret we were forced to deal with them. That you were endangered by my part in the game. Did I ever mention I used to be a bard?
You were a singer.
Bards entertain the Orlesian court. They sing, play music, make charming conversation, and spy. Many young nobles put on a mask and practice playing the game in such a fashion.
What made you interested in becoming a bard?
I was attending a university in Valroyo when I learned about bards. There was such an air of romance about them. Stories of secrets, trysts, and fascinating people. A group of us, young gentry from Antiva, decided this exciting life was for us.
I don't imagine many firstborn heirs join those ranks.
No, I was a rather foolish exception. During one particular intrigue, I encountered a bard sent to kill my patron. We fought. Or perhaps scrapped is the better word. Both of us terrified. We were at the top of a steep flight of stairs. The other bard threw a knife, and I pushed him away from me. You can imagine the result.
You've drawn a clear enough picture.
But it was such a waste, Inquisitor. When I took off his mask, I knew him. We'd attended parties together. If I'd stopped to reason, if I'd used my voice instead of scuffling like a common thug, I'll always wonder who that young man would have grown into.
From bard to diplomat is quite a change in direction.
I was headed down that path for some time already. That night merely crystallized it. In all the commotion... forgive me, I don't believe I ever thanked you for helping me with this.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Such a gracious woman deserves nothing less.
Such talk. I'm quite overcome.
Should I stop?
Oh, no. I mean, yes. I meant no, I don't... Well, if you meant to draw a blush to my cheeks, you've completely succeeded. Let's return to Skyhold before anyone notices.
Inquisitor, may I have a word? I notice you've paid Lady Montilier quite a number of compliments.
You found me out, Spy Master.
An entanglement with our ambassador seems most unwise. I asked Josephine to join the Inquisition because we needed a diplomat, not so she could be toyed with.
Is my own Spy Master telling me to watch myself?
While it would be petty of me to tamper with your supper over this, she is a very good friend. Josephine's no stranger to courtly intrigue. But love, there she's an innocent. She has no idea you are truly attracted to her. If indeed you are.
What do you have against the idea of me being attracted to Josephine?
I have not known you long, Inquisitor. Neither has Josephine. Her heart is easily carried away. I want to be sure it's taken by someone who truly cares. So, if you feel anything towards Josephine, I want to know.
Yes, I'm very attracted to Josephine.
Is that so? Whatever is between you, I ask that you treat her with kindness. For her sake, as well as yours.
Yes, you're the stern older sister who'll rip me to shreds if I so much as make poor Josephine sniffle.
As long as we're both clear on that. I will not trouble you any further, but I do watch over my friends. Good day, your worship.
Well, Leliana just gave me quite the speech.
What about?
About us.
Oh, she is impossible. Might we discuss this somewhere more private?
Leliana said I was an innocent in love?
More or less.
Of all the... I'm quite capable of understanding our association.
I've never thought your intentions were overly romantic, Inquisitor. I assure you.
Perhaps I should have composed a ballad then. Or sent roses.
What? You mean you do? We've only just... I didn't wish to presume you harbored any tender feelings for me.
I won't deny a certain captivation, Josephine.
But we haven't even known each other a few short months. How can you declare this liking for me after such a brief time together?
You've intelligence, elegance, and I always delight in your company. It seems most natural to want to be close to you.
I would not object to a closer relationship between us, my lord. If that sounds agreeable to you.
I'm actually quite glad Liliana prompted this talk.
I suppose she was right after all. Please don't tell her I said that.
I wouldn't dream of it.
How are you, my lord?
Always better for the sight of you, Lady Montilier.
Oh my, you flatter me much too much.
How far do your roots go back to Orlais?
Very far. The Montiliers used to have vast holdings in Val Royaux itself. I wish I could have seen them, especially the ones bearing the family crest. The original crest design was abandoned when we were exiled from the city. I've always wanted to find a copy.
Has our being together set any tongues wagging?
Undoubtedly. A rumor already gave you a dozen suitors the moment you took your title.
Who are these rumors pairing me with?
I can only speak to what was whispered in several courts.
Josephine.
To begin with, Cassandra, Liliana, Cullen, Dorian, Mother Giselle, Enchanter Fiona, Chancellor Roderick, 3 Rs, 2 Counts, and some man named Philip. Honestly, I don't think he even exists.
Why was Liliana so set against us being together, Josephine?
Think nothing of it. She'd disapprove of anyone I chose to keep serious company with. Back in Val Royaux, Liliana was practically my older sister.
So you two never had a romantic history together?
A romantic... You did hear me say Liliana was like a sister to me. She's a most dear friend, and nothing more.
I came to see if I could steal you away for a few minutes, for myself.
Oh, goodness. Quickly then, before anyone needs something from us. Why, what's this?
You said you wanted to see your original family crest? I found one for you.
I'm astonished. I'd given up hope that any example of the early family crest still existed. It even has our first motto, back from when we had a trading fleet to speak of. From sea to shore, we tame the waves.
Anything to see you smile.
You've certainly succeeded. Thank you. There you are. I've been looking all over for you. I've just received the most terrible news.
What is it?
I'm engaged.
To me?
For the past year, my mother and father have searched Antiva for a match for me. They had no idea you and I had grown so close. Today, I received a letter declaring they've betrothed me to Lord Adorno Cielo Tranto of Antiva. I must deal with this. But until then, we cannot be seen in a compromising situation. I'm so sorry.
Are you saying we should act like nothing has happened between us?
No, not at all. But it is not right that we carry on while I am betrothed. I must break off the match first.
Have you and this Antivan lord ever even met?
No. Perhaps, maybe at a cotillion some years ago. Oh, this is not what I wanted to happen. I barely remember Lord Otranto. I must see to this. And to my other duties. If I can keep my mind on them today at all. Inquisitor, I'm afraid untangling my engagement to Lord Otranto will take some time.
Is there anything I can do?
He is Antivan. The only acceptable thing to do would be to challenge him to a duel for my favor.
Every family has scandals. I'll find something to persuade Otranto to break off the match.
Please, Inquisitor, no. If Otranto found out, he'd challenge you to a duel. The traditional form of dueling among Antivan nobles isn't usually fatal, but there's always a chance of harm. I hardly wish to see you skewered on a sword point for the sake of my honor.
If I dueled this Lord Otranto, I could force him to give up his betrothal with you.
But you could be hurt. Dueling is a very precise sport. Men and women spend years perfecting their skills with a rapier. I couldn't bear to think of my family putting you in any further danger. Again.
Tell me again about this Antivan lord your parents engaged you to.
Adorno Ciel Otranto? His family runs several shipping companies in Antiva that do very well. Of the man's temper and disposition and habits, I know nothing. Well, Mother claims he enjoys sailing and dueling, but what Antivan lord doesn't?
You don't favor this marriage, Josephine, do you?
Certainly not. If I hadn't met you, perhaps I'd have been amenable, but honestly, you've no worry.
Does Antiva law force you to marry? Can't you break off the betrothal?
In theory, I very easily could. In reality, if I reject Lord Otranto without proper niceties, it will scar my family's name. Perhaps ignite a feud. Disentangling myself from the engagement will take months. Or years.
While you're worried about your family, what happens to us?
I cannot be with you until the question of this engagement is settled. It is simply not my own reputation. It is my family's. I do not have the right to risk it. As much as I might wish to. Why did this become so dreadfully complicated?
I am Lord Otranto of Antiva, rightfully betrothed of Lady Josephine Montilier. Songs of your exploits have spread to my city, Inquisitor. It's humbling to make your acquaintance. It is a pity it will not last longer. Before we duel, I trust you find the weapon to your satisfaction.
Am I not allowed to pick my means of defense?
I am the wounded party in this duel. Tradition dictates that I select our weapons. Of course, if you fear you might be clumsy with such a refined instrument, there is no shame in a forfeit.
Not on your life.
Then let us begin. An admirable start, Inquisitor. I assume your elven clan stumbled upon a practice sword one day in the woods. I'm glad Lady Montilier isn't here, exquisite as I've heard her appearance to be. cutting you down in front of Josephine would have given a poor first impression of House Otranto to my bride.
Strange. I would think the Otrantos already have enough blood on their hands after cheating the Tarazzas.
Who told you? You dare to bring up that slander here? Inquisitor, I will personally...
Stop!
Josephine.
Lady Montilyet, what a pleasure to...
What are you doing?
Lord Otranto and I are settling our differences about your betrothal.
That's not your decision. The Inquisition needs you. I need you. Yet you threw yourself into danger. Why do this? Why risk everything we've built? Why risk your life?
Because I love you.
You do?
He does?
And I mean it. Every word.
I love you too.
Well fought.
Lord Otranto.
I'd assumed your liaison with the Inquisitor was an affair of passion or convenience, Lady Montilyet. But I'm not fool enough to stand in the way of true affection. The Otrantos regretfully withdraw the terms of our betrothal.
Thank you.
Do not thank me. I know when I'm outmatched.
I can't imagine a better ending. But wouldn't you be impressed by a dueling scar?
My dearest lord, I love you precisely the way you are. Just do kiss me again. I can't stop thinking about your duel in Val Royeaux. Running into the middle of the crowd, the noise, the swords flashing. I was so worried for you, but at the same time, well, it was the most exciting thing I've seen in ages.
You do remember what this Inquisition has been doing, don't you?
Allow me to correct myself. The most exciting thing I have seen that didn't threaten to stop my heart. You know, when I first laid eyes on you back at Haven, I hadn't an inkling we'd become so close.
But you at least told yourself, my, what a stunningly handsome man.
You are too much. These moments seem so dear, especially given your greater calling. Sometimes I must remind myself that I'm required to share you with the rest of the world.
The world may want my time, Josephine, but you have my heart.
Then I count myself happy, beyond compare.
Josephine! Oh, Josephine! Is this him?
Inquisitor, please allow me to present to you my younger sister, Yvette Gabriella Montilyet.
There can never be too many Lady Montilyets in Thedas, can there?
Inquisitor, I've heard so much about you, but not as much as I want. Josephine writes, but she never tells me anything. Is it true? You and Josephine are going to elope and move to the Anderfels and join the Grey Wardens and fight Darkspawn? Yvette, I want to know.
I already packed our bags, didn't I, darling?
I knew it.
Inquisitor, please give her no more ammunition. I beg you.
This may be my only chance to hear about when Josephine was a girl.
Oh, yes. As she told you about when she was 10 and...
Yvette.
Stop. Fine. What about when we were climbing the cliffs by the...
No.
She once told the Duke of...
Absolutely not.
She still plays with her doll collection when no one's looking.
Yvette! That's absurd. Absolutely preposterous. Is everything all right? You look troubled.
I'm just worn out. Tonight has been very long.
It was a tumultuous evening, but Orlais is safe now. It was worth the struggle. Is there anything I can do? Can I get you anything? A drink, perhaps?
Would you care to dance with me, Lady Josephine?
I was hoping you'd ask, my lord.
How bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was en masse, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
No one can say the evening wasn't memorable.
They've already begun composing songs about it in Val Royale, no doubt. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
You'd think the game's greatest players would spot a murderer in their midst.
As I said, insularity. Familiar rivals become the only ones worth sparring with. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
My favorite moment of the evening is still our waltz in the garden.
I could have danced with you for hours. We must do it again sometime. Inquisitor, I hear this Eluvian lies in a temple nearby. No doubt you're departing for it now. Be safe.
Promise me you'll leave the instant the fight comes closer.
I promise. Return once you can. We must plan for you to fight one last duel, my darling. This time for all of us. Once you find Corypheus, I suppose we must... wait.
I'll be thinking of you every step past Skyhold.
Flattering, but you have my permission to think of your battle. Please be sure to. I hope that you'll... Maker, I wish you didn't have to go.
You mean the world to me, Josephine Montillier.
Then return to me safely. I must attend to some tasks before you draw out our enemy. Do go before I begin to cry. May I join you? I wanted to catch you. The celebrations appear to be winding down with the sunrise. I've never witnessed such a lovely sight.
Nor I.
Sometimes your words are so sweet, they ache.
That's love.
That's you. It's been good to have this celebration, free of what the future holds. Whatever awaits us, my lord. I know only one thing. I would never have you face it alone. It's so good to see you, darling. I've been fielding Orlesian diplomats all afternoon.
Have they given you trouble?
Not at all. It is quite alarming. It means they are all saving themselves up for later. Would you walk with me? I should like to take some air before the Exalted Council becomes inescapable. The palace has been most accommodating. We are, after all, here at their insistence, but the ministers may... No. No more talk of the council. This meeting was to spend time with you in a more relaxed fashion.
Is this in your daily notes? 3 to 4 o'clock, idle chat with the Inquisitor.
Of course not. Not precisely. The truth is, there is a small entertainment happening tonight, to which I may be able to find a pair of invitations.
You'd like me to go with you?
Very much so. In all the years you've worked with Orlais, you had so little time to enjoy its culture.
Perhaps you're right. These meetings and talks don't allow for much leisure time.
And then back to Skyhold without a moment's pause to take in where we are. Sometimes, I'm afraid I do not make enough time for you, my love. Please, come with me tonight.
And what is this small entertainment?
Something to ease our minds. I would very much like to surprise you with the details.
If it makes you happy, how can I refuse?
Oh, wonderful. I was worried we wouldn't find the time. The past years have been so busy. We have earned at least a few moments of rest.
A calm night out sounds...
Oh, bravo! Bravo!
This was your idea of a restful evening.
Ah, wasn't it lovely? It's been so long since I've gone to the opera. But tell me, did you enjoy the performance?
The performance pales in comparison to the lovely lady I saw it with.
You are sidestepping the question.
Love leaves my tongue tied.
Well, in that case, I suppose allowances can be made.
One dead Canary was bad enough. Now we have more, and they're hostile.
This makes no sense. The Canary may not be friendly to the Inquisition, but they have no reason to attack us.
They also have no reason to be here, or using Illuvians at all.
I've had the mirror placed under guard for now.
It appears the relative peace and quiet of the last 2 years is coming to an end.
First the Blight, then Mages and Templars, then Corypheus, and now this. Can't we go 10 years without the world falling to pieces?
We must ensure that the Canary do not disrupt the negotiations. The Exalted Council is in a very delicate state.
I'm certain you can soothe the nobles' ruffled feathers while we solve the real problem.
Not when the Inquisitor insults everyone present by walking out in the middle of the talks. Our only advantage is that Orlais and Ferelden are divided in goal and grievance. If they unite against us, Divine Victoria will have no choice but to support their claims. We could lose everything.
I know we're asking a lot of you, Ambassador. I promise we won't make this any harder for you than necessary.
I know, my love. I'm sorry. I will attend to the Exalted Council.
And while Josie does that, we will investigate.
I'll head back to the crossroads. We need to find out what the Kunari are doing, and why they attacked.
And I'll have a quiet word with our honor guard.
I'm glad to see you safe after venturing into the crossroads. I do not have to tell you to be careful, my love, but... Tell me, these strange spaces past the Alluvians, are they safe to explore?
We're taking every precaution we can, Josephine.
I will take your word for it. And yet, you've accomplished so much in the calm of these past years. I wish you did not have to imperil yourself for us. Again.
I won't take unnecessary risks. I have someone far too important to come back to.
And she will be happy for your return. Be safe, my lord. Please. I will do what I can here. Once the Canary are dealt with, brace yourself. The Council is just as relentless. The Canary will feel the loss of their lyrium. It is not an easy commodity to come by. You've done well. The Exalted Council, meanwhile, has deadlocked.
Does that help us or not?
It is dangerous, yet also an opportunity. You will be called in soon. Move boldly and swiftly, and you may decide the outcome. The world's eyes are on you, my love. Let us remind them how you shine. Your agents confirm there are Gatlock battles in Denerim's palace?
Yes, and in Val Royeaux and across the Free Marches. The Winter Palace is not the only target.
The Canary are one order from destroying every noble house in the known world.
There is a bright side. Warning the ambassadors will remind them of the Inquisition's value.
Not when the Inquisition is responsible for that threat.
I take it you have new information.
The elven servant handling the barrels confessed to working for the Canary.
But the servant was Orlesian. That implicates Orlais, not us.
But the barrels arrived at the Winter Palace on the Inquisition supply manifest.
How are we supposed to fight a war when we can't even trust our own people?
Do you know who got the barrels onto the Inquisition manifest?
Yes, several of the Inquisition's elven workers have gone missing. I had their backgrounds checked. They joined the Inquisition after fleeing the chaos in Kirkwall.
I remember when Kirkwall was at its worst. Many of the city's elves converted to the Qun, trying to find a better life.
And the Canary turned them into spies.
The Inquisition stopped Corypheus and saved the world. We can't let an outside threat change who we are.
I fought to protect the Inquisition in this exalted council. And for what? So we could deceive and threaten those we claimed to protect?
Once we locate the spies...
This isn't about the spies. You hid the Canary body. You've all but seized control of the Winter Palace.
We did what was right, not what was politically convenient.
Do you know what this has cost us with Orlais and Ferelden? They are planning to dismantle us as we speak. And perhaps they are right.
So, it's been getting worse. I don't know why. I don't know how to stop it. I don't know how much time I've got left. What I do know is that the Kunari need to be stopped. So I need to get to the Darvarad while I can still fight.
Thank you, Inquisitor.
Would you like us to inform the Exalted Council of the danger?
Yes. If we fail, the Exalted Council needs to know what happened.
I will inform them personally.
Leliana, I can...
No, your job is hard enough already. This is my responsibility.
I'll have guards ready at the Alluvian, in case the Canary attack the palace.
Make her watch over you.
The Inquisition did not cause this threat. We informed the Summit of the danger.
The danger posed by Canary spies inside your organization.
Without our organization, none of us would be here to complain.
No one has forgotten what you have done. But Corypheus is 2 years dead.
If the Inquisition is to continue, It must do so as a legitimate organization, not a glorified mercenary band.
Inquisitor.
You all know what this is. A writ from Divine Justinia authorizing the formation of the Inquisition. We pledge to close the breach, find those responsible, and restore order, with or without anyone's approval. We have fulfilled that pledge. And now the war is over, for most of us. It is time for our soldiers to sheathe their swords and go home. To all who served, thank you. It has been an honor. Effective immediately, the Inquisition is disbanded.
My agents have found nothing. With the Illuvians, he could be anywhere.
With the Inquisition officially disbanded, we have no army, no formal alliances.
We have what we truly need.
We will need to be careful.
Solus knows everything about us. Who we are, how we work, our strengths and weaknesses.
Then we find people he doesn't know. We will save our friend from himself. If we can.